Welcome to part 3 of my ZModeler Brush tutorials. How to become best friends forever with the ZModeler Brush. I'm still wondering exactly what it is that causes people to avoid the ZModeler Brush. I've noticed a lot of resistance to using it. Whether it's the huge lists of actions, targets, and modifiers that pop up on menus that constantly change, or whether it's that so many of them are vague and don't seem to make sense. I'm talking about the actions and targets and modifiers, not the people. If you have difficulty with understanding or using the ZModeler Brush, please let me know what it is down in the comments below, and I'll be happy to try to clear it up, whatever it is, in future videos if I can. ZBrush has been evolving at a mind-boggling rate in the short 4.5 years since I have been using it, and as Pixelogic continues to develop more and more hard surface features, one thing seems very clear. The more you can master polygroups and how they can be used to control so many features in ZBrush, the faster your mastery of ZBrush will skyrocket. With the advent of the ZModeler Brush, selection of polygroups has improved exponentially. Let's get down to finishing the guitar we started in the last video. I've decided to take a different approach to creating the base mesh. We're going to start out with just a circle. This is a 3D primitive, just a flat circle. I'm going to keep it at 16. Make Polymesh 3D. Choose the Move Transpose tool and Control Shift middle circle. Drag up a copy. Switch to the scale. Hitting this white circle, center it. Shift and the outer circle, scale it down. I'm not going to use any reference for this guitar. You can make a guitar any shape you want. There's so many different shapes of guitars. Most acoustic guitars look pretty much the same, but they don't have to be. BZM, the ZModeler Brush. Hold down Alt and tag these faces here. Then move again. If you auto-group them and then click on one of them, it'll mask the other. Just like that. Draw out the transpose line. Move it into position. Back to draw. Holding over the edge. Shift and choose bridge. Edges is the target. Hover over a point. Spacebar. Choose stitch. I'm going to stitch these points like this. Switch to insert, and I'm going to just make one polygroup so I can see those, and back to bridge, and Control W, make them all the same polygroup, and I'm just going to clean this up with the stitch points. Go to bridge, point, hover over a point, select bridge, change it to 2 points rather than ring. Now, hover over an edge, go to delete in the edge menu, polygon. This will only remove edges as long as they leave a quad. It won't delete anything. If 5-sided, like right there, it won't take that one out. Hover over a point and go back into stitch. Set polygon to do nothing. Set the edge to insert. And we'll just leave those triangles in there for now. Spacebar. Set it to polygroup, polyloop. Switch this out of polyloop and into polygroup island. Q mesh, polygroup island. It's pretty thick, so I'm gonna start pulling back and holding down shift, otherwise it would jump right back to the start. Q mesh likes to snap to edges, so like if I was just pulling this back out, it would see it's how it snaps to that. So holding shift will allow you to just move it in and out. You don't want to let go though. There, that's about the right thickness. Now polygon, set it to delete and polygroup island, and there you go. Let's set display properties to double so you can see the back. I didn't want to do that hole until I pulled this out. Oh well. Hold shift again. About that thick. I'm going to put in edges on insert. I'm going to insert a poly loop right about there. And I'm going to set polygon to delete poly loop again. And I'm going to delete that poly loop there. Now, I can show you something I forgot to show you in the last video. But don't tell me I've got this snapped. Oh, I did it again! Why do I keep doing that? Okay, I need to straighten this guitar out. Looks somewhat straight. One way to test it is go into geometry, modify topology, hit mirror and weld. Oh yeah. Okay. Go down to deformation and unify. Now mirror and weld and see. Local sim. Undo that. Mirror and weld. Still making a seam there. So what I'm going to do is undo and oh, I see it goes off at an angle. I'm going to mask these points off right here and invert the mask. I'm just going to pull them over to the side here and mirror and weld. There we go. Now I got it straightened out. Hover over an edge, spacebar, and go to collapse. Rather than edge as the target, you want hole to be the target. So when you click on an edge, it just collapses right to the center like that, which is rather nice. I also wanted to show you another closing technique. That would be edge stitch. The only target is hole, there's no modifiers. So click on an open edge and then opposite open edge, and it stitches it like so. Insert an edge loop about there and tag these faces over an edge and set it to a line. Click on this edge and this edge, and I found that if you just let go it snaps back up, but if you click on one edge and then the other, and I just drag it towards the middle a little bit and it'll flatten it out. Well, I guess also this is interactive, so side to side will give you elevation like so. I don't want that, I just want it to be flat like so. Let's get these in there too. So now start dragging out and hit control to separate it out, then drag out to about there, then add an edge loop, tag those faces and drag them out. Looks rather wide. Yeah. So I'm going to turn on symmetry. I don't want the guitar to change. So mask that off. That looks about right. Okay. That's approximately right. Now, set this to a line again. Take it out of symmetry mode. Now, for the fretboard, tag these, pull out. It's probably going to want to snap to the front of this guitar. Like so. And for this, I'm going to switch to insert, but multi-edge loop and I'm going to set that to 1. So I'll make one edge loop, it'll be right in the center. And then switch back to insert single edge loop. Insert single edge loop, yeah. So why aren't you inserting an edge loop? Oh, it's masked off, that's right. Oh, and that's why it didn't snap either. Okay, now go to stitch the just lining up. I'm trying to match the geometries. I could have put an edge loop in the guitar and bridge those together. There's a couple different ways we could do this. You could either tag these faces and these faces. Oops. Can't see. I want to stitch these together too. There are some functions that will operate when everything's hidden. Bridge won't, but apparently stitching does. So I'm going to set delete the polygons and delete those. So now you can come into the edge and either bridge or close. I didn't need to delete the faces to do this. I could have done this without having to delete. They're slip normals. Let's see what's going on here. Turn double off. Okay. Is everything flipped? Go to display properties and flip. Okay. Okay. That's a little bit high here. So Q mesh, and I'm gonna hold down shift. That's not gonna work. Shift and push it down. I want them both to go. I like that. Hit D for dynamic subdivision. Not bad. Something strange looking there. Now, we want, wrong key. Set decrease, the edge decrease, and edge loop complete. Oh no, that's edge loop partial, which means it'll go till it comes to an intersection that is not joined by 4 lines. 3 or more than 4, it'll just stop at that point. Looks pretty good. Shift D to get out of dynamic subdivisions. We have some places that aren't welded or stitched together. That's an easy fix. Sometimes it's hard to choose. Oh, I forgot to do the corners. I forgot to do this right here. Under Tool, in the Geometry palette, under Modified Topology, there is weld points. Didn't weld them. The slider, the further you turn it up, the more it'll weld. Probably needs to have an edge loop right here, or we can just stitch the points like this. Get rid of that unsightly red. I don't find red unsightly, it's just in that instance. Now, I'll start creasing back here. There we go. All right. There we go. Oh, also, creasing, set it to edge loop complete. So, and like so. There we go. Not completely round, but working in the dark here. There. lose my creasing. Still looks a little off. Tag both of these. Start pushing and then hold down Shift. And I think I just put a bunch of creasing where I didn't want it. Because that edge loop complete just went all the way down there. So I'm going to put it to edge loop partial. Put an edge loop. Delete edge loop. Oh, maybe it's not exactly a quad. Looks like it is, but sometimes you'll have it not quite meet in the corner. Oh yeah, that's what's going on here. I stitched this to here. That's what it was. This edge loop is just above the corner, which made an extra side. Okay, now for the head of the guitar, not focusing on things that I was going to show you how to do. Key meshes out, I'm going to break it off. I've been doing this lately because I'm less likely to cause problems with the rest of the model, like add edge loops where I don't want to and things like that. Polygroup island. Flat island would have worked as well. Edge, mask. So I'll mask these 4 edges. And Control tap on the canvas to inverse the mask. Transpose. Go into symmetry. Hold Shift. And pull it out like so. Insert, Alt, get rid of that edge loop there. Mask. Mask that line, inverse the mask. Pull up something like that. Then insert again. That's weird. Huh. Strange. Set this to 3. Very strange. Back to single edge loop. Why is it doing that? Oh, there's a mask. Back to single edge loop right there. That should do okay. Set the point to split and triangular center. Drag out to about yay big. And then click. One thing about ZModeler Brush is its memory. It remembers the last thing you did, the settings you had on whatever function. It'll be the same when you come back to it, like if you switch from delete to split points, whatever, and whatever you had that feature set at will be there when you come back. Really nice. Oh, I wanted different polygroups. Okay. Polygroup island. Just going to push these through. We have to sculpt the tuning heads. Delete these faces. And then back to draw mode. Edge and bridge 2 holes. There we have it. So there's various things I wanted to show you, such as edge Q mesh. Let me explain what's going on here. So you can see where, depending on which side of this line I go to, it highlights that face, those faces, and right now it's highlighting other ones. So well, that's pretty cool. It's because I have symmetry on. This could come in handy if you was going at the wrong angle and you wanted to go off on the right angle, like in this direction. Oops. Not to delete in that direction. Oh, it's going to go that way. Interesting. So that's edge Q mesh, and it'll snap. Tricky. I think I showed you bridge point earlier, bridge 2 points. The default setting is bridge in a ring. And you've got the modifiers are creased ring and regroup ring, or do not crease and do not regroup, a combination of those. So if like I clicked on that point, it joins up in a ring all the points that are within distance around it. Yeah. For instance, if I did it here, wow, oh, that's huge. Okay, I can deal with this. Didn't realize it was that big. First, let's see here. What if a line edge will take care of this? Not quite the way I wanted it. I think I can fix it though. No matter, we can mirror this over, mirror and weld, then slide edge, control loop partial. That side worked. I wonder what the deal was with the other side. Probably should weld points. Oh yeah, need creasing. Set polygon to do nothing. I'll show you boss ZBrush. And there's a nearly finished guitar. What's going on there? Mirror and weld it. That's kind of funky up there. I was just lightly tapping on that with smooth. Creasing is causing wonkiness right there. It'll be covered up with the machines. The machines will cover it up. Just taking the creasing off right there. Don't think it was necessary. There. It's getting better all the time. And that's it for now. The next video will make the tuning machines. Ta-ta!